What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. And in this video, we're going to be taking apart the old 454 that came out of the Oldsmobile, and we're also going to be taking a look at the new motor that we're going to be assembling with the rotating assembly from our last video. So first, we're going to start off by taking the valve covers off, and then we're going to work our way into the intake manifold, the valve train, and then the cylinder heads. But before we get into that, make sure to drop a like below, hit subscribe for more videos like this, and without further ado, let's get into it. Alright, so we went ahead and took out all the bolts on our valve covers. So now these should come off pretty easily just by pulling off. We'll go ahead and set that over here. Then we're going to take off our other valve cover, pretty simple. I'm just going to go ahead and set that on top of this one right here. So now that we have our valve covers off, it's going to expose our valve train, where we're then going to take off our rocker arms and our push rods. But before we do that, we're going to go ahead and start taking off our intake manifold, and then we'll go from there. Alright, so now that we went ahead and took all the bolts out of our intake manifold, it should pull off pretty easily, just like so. We're going to go ahead and set this down here. And then now, we can actually go ahead and start working on our push rods and then our rocker arms as well, and just start basically disassembling all of the valve assembly. So once we go ahead and do that, then we can go ahead and take off the cylinder heads. So let's go ahead and do that. Alright, so we went ahead and took off all of these locking nuts that go on the top of our rocker arm that then connects down to our push rod here. We can go ahead and just start pulling them off like so, pretty easily. And then once we're done taking all these off, we can then go ahead and start pulling out all of our push rods. So we're going to go ahead and start taking off all these, and then we're going to take out our push rods, and then from there we can move on to taking off the cylinder heads. Alright, so we went ahead and we got the rocker arms and the push rods off the cylinder heads. Everything looks pretty good here, but one thing you always want to do is you want to check the ends of your push rods just to make sure that they're not damaged or nothing's been basically hurt on the push rod itself. That can be a really good indicator of something failing internally inside of your rotating assembly or anywhere inside the actual motor itself. So next, we're going to go ahead and we're going to unbolt the cylinder heads from the motor with the cylinder head bolts here. And then from there, we're going to go ahead and take a look at the piston tops and further inspect the inside of the motor. So let's go ahead and do that. Alright, so now we got the cylinder head off the motor. We can go ahead and take a look inside our cylinders here. And immediately when inspecting this cylinder, I can see that this piston is absolutely melted. You can see right there at the top that this motor just got way too hot and these cast pistons just gave out. So that is the main reason why we went with the forged assembly for this next motor, so we don't have to deal with this again. Now we are going to take off the other cylinder head and inspect those cylinders. There's a good chance that this isn't the only piston that melted, so let's go ahead and take off the other cylinder head and inspect that. Alright, so we went ahead and got the cylinder heads off the motor. When inspecting the cylinder right here, we can actually see that this piston was starting to fail due to the amount of heat that was entering the combustion chamber. It was actually getting so hot that it started to melt this piston as well. Now you can tell the amount of failure that's happening because of the head gasket as well. Right here in the center, you can see that combustion is actually traveling over the cylinder, and if we look at the cylinder walls here, the amount of burning that's happening right here is where the actual head gasket is allowing the combustion to travel from this cylinder over to this cylinder. So that's the main reason why this motor was running so hot and caused it to fail the way it did. Next, we're going to take a look at my new motor and go over the honing process and what my machinist did to get that block ready for the next rotating assembly. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. Alright everyone, so we got the block on the engine stand. This block is ready for the rotating assembly to be installed in it at this point. Now if you guys haven't seen the video on the rotating assembly that we're going to be putting in this block, go ahead and click in the top right corner here, and that'll actually take you to that video so you guys can see all the specifications and what the rotating assembly is that's going to be going inside this motor. As far as this block goes, we had the block bored 60 thousandths over, and it was a 454 cubic inch big block. So at this point, it should be around a 496 or even a 500 cubic inch big block. So lots of power. All the work was done by Beck over at Beck Racing Engines. And if you guys need any work, just feel free to hit him up. I'll put all his information in the description below. He does awesome work. And as you can see, it's just awesome. I can't wait to see how this thing's gonna sound. Next is going to be showing you guys the honing process that Alan did on this block. It's really cool to see up close about how the process works for what it's like to blueprint a racing motor. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at that, and then we'll go from there. So now that we've taken a look at the honing process on this block and what Alan did to get this motor ready for that rotating assembly, we're gonna go ahead and end the video here. Thank you all for watching. If you guys enjoyed this video, please make sure to drop a like below, hit subscribe for more videos like this, and as always, I'll see you guys in the next one.